Hey everyone, Brento here. Welcome to another episode of Dump City. Just remember, if the conservatives and the liberals go to war, the socialists will take over. Alright, enough of that. So, we're back in action here. I discovered something in the game since we last played. This option where you hit the G mode and you can go into a realistic view of the city. That's how much a noob I am. I didn't even know that existed. So as our city gets more developed, we'll definitely take advantage of that. And for this episode, I know we've been doing a lot of tutorials lately, like how to build highways and subways and whatnot. But I thought this one, let's have a bit of a goal here. To see if at a certain point we can go into real time and just let it play as fast as we can and just watch the chaos unfold. Hopefully not too much chaos because we're still early on in the game, and the sooner your world gets ruined, the sooner this series is over. And for some of you, that might be a positive thing. For others, they might be disappointed. In this one, I want to run it to the point where some of the industries, some of these facilities we started building are actually finished. You'll notice all these yellow blueprint moded things. So we've been queuing up a ton of construction in our world, and very few things are getting done here. This is the one we need done immediately. And once we go to real time here, and we're I press play, I want to do the majority of the episode in real time. So I'm thinking of calling this episode Action Packed. So just our first go at playing and dealing with emergencies without hitting the pause. Ever since I started streaming, the only time I can actually seem to play it on is on stream days. So, I was thinking about the Joy of Painting series. If you think about it, this guy, this Bob Ross guy, is painting stuff on, he's just painting. But I'm pretty sure he didn't paint in between. Like, he painted so much that there's no way he had time to do pastime paintings. He probably is filming himself every single time he's doing his favorite pastime. And I was like, maybe that's why it was so successful, right? Just this guy who's happy about what he's doing. Video games, I think in general, are like one of the best pastimes there is. It's other than the cost of the game, it's you definitely get your money's worth out of them. So if you want to be less angry, find a hobby of some sort. If there's something you've probably thought of, get into some video games. Try a video game. If you happen to be watching this, I doubt there are many people, but there could be some people out there who have never really looked at video games recently. This is a virtual world we're building here in a highly realistic mode. Once we get into it, you'll see, if you haven't been following the previous episodes, you'll see how detailed this is. There is skill to it. You can't just wave your hands and the problems go away. They're there, right? But that's also the challenge of it. I guess when Bob Ross was painting, you can't just do anything he wants. There is some skill to it, and there's a little bit of challenge to it. And then he got a painting out of it. The thing is with this series, it takes a long time to build this full city, and I'm sure we're just a small portion of the way in here. So as I've been doing lately, and again because I haven't played in a few days, I like to always go through the world and see where things are at before making too many decisions. Once I kind of get a grasp of where our machines and businesses are, what they're up to, then I'll go into real time because I want to see where the problem points are. What we're trying to do right now in this phase of the game is develop our construction industry. Because right here, these are the machines that make all our ingredients to build our city. We have our distribution and construction offices set up we're currently getting materials from Canada. They're reliant on Canada. Same with the electricity. Our road to Mexico here. Okay, here's something we got to keep an eye on here. We have this road under construction. I think this is okay. So there's a problem right away that this should be getting built. This is a critical road because right now the Mexican workers, they have to go this long way around, so they're kind of wasting time, taking too long to get to work. So that kind of has to be done. Let's just check this here. Yeah, so you see we have our construction offices assigned, and they move. They're going to merge into here. So the Canadian and Mexican workers kind of converge. We did this. I think it was last episode, where it might have been between episodes, but very recently. So this was sort of the source of our highway when we have two major sources of traffic coming in. So the two episodes we planned our metro system, and last episode we planned our freeway system, our Soviet freeway system. We kind of like look at this. This is a Soviet interchange. Look at that. 1961. That would have been top of the line. The stuff you see in the rest of the world today with the freeways and whatnot, nothing compared to this. This was a marvel at the time. Well, probably there was much better in other places, but they weren't too into cars, okay? And these are still in blueprint mode, so they're not going to get started, but we're going to have our gravel freeway here soon. We're building our gravel freeway. Look at this. Actually, while we're here, in case I forget, I did this a little bit offline. At the end of every episode, I'm going to do a little bit of work so the world progresses a little faster than I'm presenting them here. Because we need to get into the full purpose of this world, right? Which is to create a completely self-sustaining economy that does, like, it generates garbage gets sorted, gets reprocessed, remanufactured, and sold back to the people. So that, but we're not even close to that. We need to get to the university to get the technology to even start that. So that's why I want to speed things up a bit. Before I forget, here was something I did. Is this pedestrian path here? So this was our metro system, and I created two walkways that go over the freeway and reach into this area here to grab some people. So not only will this serve like this zone here, it will serve a bunch of people in here too. And the reasoning for that is, like, let's say you are on this side. Heck, you could, if there are some businesses here and you put some walkways around here, people could, in theory, go or just walk over, which I think that was described. The issue was discussed in a previous episode about what do you do with these freeways when there's no easy way to get to the other side and there's businesses. Actually, right here is more likely where we'll see a business on the other side. So that gives a little bit more walkability for our downtown. But then we continue down the freeway here, another overpass. I cleaned up some of these interchanges too offline. Like some of the roads were a little funny, but these, pretty much you don't have to stop once this gets all done. But initially, see this here. This is just going to be gravel roads. It's going to be a gravel freeway. And it'll probably stay that way for a long time. And these bridges, very reluctantly will I believe most of them are disabled from being builded. We'll see, that one isn't. That one should have been. And when we're in real time, if we catch that, well, we just got to be quick and stop it because we don't want them to be building senseless things. None of the metro systems should be getting built initially. But if they start working on this, that's okay. Our gravel freeway, at least one of the lanes to San Francisco. You start in Los Angeles, go to San Francisco. I cleaned this up a little bit offline. You see just a nicer intersection. It's more like a clover leaf. Added a road through here. I think these are, I readjusted these a little bit. So this is our San Francisco bypass. So this is kind of the belt that our construction equipment will be going on. And we want to expedite as fast as possible. I did this offline too. I added all these walkways So this whole district around, it just seems like San Francisco would do something like this. It's the kind of thing. It's a little excessive, but it's also practical because it lets pedestrians get into all these different zones. So if we set up residential buildings all around here, they'll be able to just get into this system here. There'll be like there's pathways down here to directly access this zone. So this is sort of just to get into the further zones. So I thought that was kind of cool. Founded Oakland. I don't know if I mentioned that. There's Oakland. And they're on the other side of the wooden Golden Gate Bridge. I think that's been mentioned before. And then we have Dump Cities here, our elevated rail network. It's going to probably be a few episodes before we start putting some buildings in here. We need our basic stuff working first. This here I kind of think was a mistake. I've suspended construction on it. I don't know if this might not be the best location for a dump, but because it's unfortunate. We started building a bit, but I might have changed my mind. It was just I did that in a panic because when our cathedral collapsed, we needed room for garbage. So we recently developed this, our metro system. This is we're going to start. The metro line itself won't get starting to get built, but the track over here, I would like to start that fairly quick. If we're hopefully, we need to get a rail construction office built for that to happen. And as soon as this one's done, this will probably be very high priority as well. Because you kind of once the track builders take a long time to build track, and this is realistic mode, right? So you can't just draw out tracks and they're working magically. You blueprint everything, and the little sims build everything in this game. And then sometimes it's just fun to watch it. So that's going to be a high priority project, is to initiate the ability to start building track with that building. We're going to need some high priority electricity in here. I actually created this offline too. So we have one substation set up here that reaches this building, but I also created another one here, which I think will be enabled sooner because there's less work to do with it. So it has these things are kind of the priority here. So I guess I'll wait till we start playing here. Oh wait, hold on. There's one other thing we have to go over to make sure we got it. Oh, I found some other cities here. Here's Seattle. They're kind of relative to where these cities are on the map. This is obviously not the map of the US, but I started laying out a few cities in range. See that? And then we got all the default cities in the horizon, but I don't know, maybe if some people can think of a city that's a little further from the horizon that needs a name, let me know. Let's see if we can get somewhat relatively correctly positioned. So here we have Russia and China. So one thing too is these Russian and Chinese workers, we also want to give them stuff to do. And before I hit unpause here, I just want to make sure we have another project ready after they're done this one here, because they're both going to be working on this excessively. So once you hit real time, and if everything's running smoothly, and those guys get caught up, we'll have to come up with a plan quickly. So let's see how action-packed this episode is here. I just want to make sure we're in a good starting condition. Okay, all our construction offices are, when the workers are out, that means they're doing something, and that's what we want. We always want them to do something. They're not necessarily doing something you want them to do, but they're doing something, and that's better than nothing, right? It's better than me not streaming this. You want to see how this is made, right? I don't want to just play this and then show you how the outcome. You watch it for 5 minutes and go, well, that was interesting, and walk away. It's the process of it that makes it interesting. That's the show, right? So I think it's time to go. We'll start in the middle of the night here, and I'm gonna see how long I can go without hitting pause. Okay, there we go. That's it. We're going. And we want to get this built here. Should have checked a few more things actually. I don't know if I have much time for my random jokes and stupid comments. I know a lot of people don't even watch the main series here. They just, this part they're not going to hear. They just hear the stupid parts, the stupid things they say. And, well, so be it, right? That's what I do. Half the channels, I watch them exactly like that. You know, if I watch a channel like that, then it wouldn't be a surprise if that's how other people watch the channel. Like one of the bits here I was thinking of was, it's the three-armed man who got shadow banned because he was a little unusual for having three arms. Well, you know, this is actually true. There used to be, you know, in the 1800s, there used to be communities that didn't like, that thought that some, you know, freaks in the circus were not considered okay. So they were kind of banned. They weren't allowed. And there was I don't know the details of this, but it was, I believe, a three-armed man who was part of the freak show. They didn't allow him into some community. I guess the people in the circus or whatever it was called, the carnival or the show, whatever, the touring freaks they had, they kind of felt bad for him because he wasn't welcome in this community. So what they did was, the guy who was hosting it made him like the headliner in the next town, and he was super popular, this three-armed man. And then when it came to the part where, you know, you sort of meet the crowd and shake hands, he was gaining fans 50% faster. Okay, yeah, that was it. That was just that was the bit. I have a three-legged joke. I'll do that later. Someone reminds me to do the three-legged man joke. It's not even a joke. It's just a random thing. See, that's what you do in this game here. The Sims are doing it. Like we did a lot of work in the first few episodes here. You just got to keep an eye on things here to make sure things are being built correctly. Oh my god, it's so slow though. That's the thing. And but you know, you see the progress bar. Let's see what we got here. Just need some workers for this phase. Curious to see what's going on here. Demolition office. I don't know if we're demolishing much stuff. Should we had a job over here? Actually, you know what? While we're waiting, I had an idea. I know I've seen some recent pictures of Oakland, and there's some parts of Oakland that aren't so nice. And I thought of a clickbait. And it has to do with the zoning issue. And this, if I do this in the game, I'm not lying, am I? It's not. It's like a clickbait, but it's me telling the truth. It's, you know, much like corporations mislead you in life, make you believe something that is probably not true. That happens everywhere. It happens in media. It happens in these video games. So, for example, let's say, you know, part of Oakland rezoned as a dump, right? You could put that in a headline. Someone would be wondering why the Oakland, like, this is true. Part of Oakland has just been zoned as a dump. Okay, I can put that on YouTube and not be misleading. Well, maybe it's like it is. It's like I'm assuming you're a fan of this show and you're watching it and you're like, okay, that's honest. You just did that in the game. You could put that as a title to your video, you know. And if someone clicks it for another reason, then that would be, well, you know what? That's your problem, right? If you have these preconceived, did you really think they would just rezone part of it as a dump? Maybe they do some parts, but maybe not the parts you think. Maybe it's just an uninteresting story that happens in the news there. But you could do that technically. Like, imagine just like a really bad neighborhood. You say, you know what? Let's just declare this zone a dump. It's just a dump now. I imagine some people, like, if the area was completely abandoned, it's probably not a big deal. You know, it's probably not a big deal. There might be a net positive. Like some people, are like, yeah, I wish the dump were closer by. Get rid of this junk and just throw it somewhere. Maybe, but you know what? The real solution is dump city. That's what we need. Every major metro area needs one of these. The entire city designed to take garbage and make actual productive goods out of it. But we're a long way from that. We're not even, like, we can't even build our stuff. Okay, we're up to 70%. Saw a worker there for a second. I saw a worker. So let's, I don't want to go too fast here because once a problem occurs, there's real-time issues solving it, right? And we're trying to expedite things. Let's have a look at our highways. This is the action-packed episode. There's always something going on. Oh yeah, none of these rail lines will get built until our rail construction office is. The only line we want is this one here to Canada, and this building here. Again, this isn't a zero priority, but it is getting built. Actually, I'll make it low priority though. I don't want them to be delaying other projects because of that. It might be worth making a gravel road here at some point, but as far as I know, the only thing that goes through this or down this road here is a fuel service truck. And if it's just one vehicle, it's not a big deal. And if you've been following the series and you're wondering, why don't you have highways? You know, this isn't a cool city. This is a lame communist city in 1961. Well, that's the point. We're going to go through the eras. Eventually, we'll get asphalt roads, and then we'll, like this will go from gravel to asphalt to 2-lane asphalt. And then it will, all our vehicles will get in. This road here is, I think, is going to stay like this. This is going to become a street. And this is going to become a road, not a strode. I don't think it's not just bikes would talk about that. He's another top 10 YouTuber up there for sure. If you're interested in this kind of like city planning stuff and some of the theories that go behind this, this isn't just me. Like I watch a lot of these shows, so I learn a little from them. You know, I definitely don't necessarily learn from what I see in the city around me. The city around me is not very well organized. A lot of it is very poorly planned. I was looking at some parts of the map, and there was like an area where you could tell it there should have been like a highway thoroughfare, and they built like a high-end residential neighborhood right at the end of it, completely disrupting a corridor through the city. And it was, if you think about it, it was probably some corrupt officials who took a bribe to make it happen. Because the only people who could afford it there would have been rich people, right? This is a high-end neighborhood, and it was right at the end of an essential corridor, so it didn't make sense. Well, it does make sense if you think about if there was bribery happening, but it's just strange. Like that's not. It seemed like a very, very. If you were playing this game and you were central planning, you would never have allowed it. You just would have said no to it. But I guess with enough money, you see bizarre civic policy. But that's true everywhere, right? Like we've been discussing that over the series, the nature of capitalism. You know, like the incentive for, you know, coal mine to set up near the owner of a coal mine also owns the hospital, or a dentist also has shares in a candy company, or a heart surgeon also invests heavily in fatty, greasy, unhealthy McDonald's type. Well, I shouldn't say McDonald's. Maybe McDonald's is healthier now, but just not necessarily food that's considered the best for you, because one thing leads to profits in the other. So that's kind of why that's the argument against capitalism, at least late stage. Once the markets are developed, you it, a lot of writers have reasoned that socialism is kind of um, the end result of most societies, and uh, like if you think about it, like Rome, when Rome fell, what do you mean by fell, right? Did it all just disappear? Did it all just get uh, burnt to the ground and it was just forest? Not really. It's just the people that controlled it changed. It was fragmented. It became more logical to be district controlled. You got to realize too, Rome was they didn't have planes, they didn't have cars, so you had really very little other than the authorities that you were in communication with at the top. You really had no idea what was going on at the fringes of your empire, and that's still somewhat true today. Like different parts of the world, like you know, um, you go to a major city. Typically, the major popular cities are going to be your nicest cities. So, if you go to the U.S., like I'm from Canada, but if I go to the U.S. and see the tourist destinations, I'm going to think that the place is beautiful everywhere, that there's no issues. It's a very wealthy and vibrant place. But I also, watch YouTube and watch the other sources of news, and I know that's not true. Um, so the truth is, like the central control only goes so far. And yeah, when Rome fell, and it's not to say the U.S. is going to fall apart. It's still pretty strong, and it's still overall a very like it hasn't. It is declining lately. Like the capitalists have like again, that was the cause of the kind of Rome, was the people at the top who were just so disconnected, and there was no screening process. You were just at the top, and that was it. You inherited your role as person of power in society, and it didn't matter how incompetent you were. And because of that, because there was no test of competency, it eventually fell apart. But I mean, it just fell apart as a legal entity, right? It's just a word. Society existed whether it had a name or not. So that's the actual history of things. And to a certain degree, it is true that socialism, i.e., just people with common sense, are going to always ensure things work out as best as possible. But then again, too, you got to look at World War One, World War Two, and what the capitalists did to ensure they maintain hegemony, right? If you pit liberals versus conservatives, get them to go to war all the time, and you just sit back and neither side realizes they've been you've been two different hamsters pushed into a competing hamsters pushed into a box, and there's one source of food. Like, it's not the hamster's fault that they're fighting. It's just they have no choice. It's the people who put them in the box in the first place that are the problem. And I think humans are a little smarter than hamsters. Like, there are some elitist pricks out there that think they understand, they think they have control, but and they can control some people. I'm not going to deny that. Like, there are ways of controlling people that a lot of people are somewhat slaves to their own habits, and they do get away with it. But I think in the modern era, I don't think we're going to see anything like World War II again, because we have all the records. Like, watch documentaries on it. Watch how it actually started, and they're doing it again today. This Project 2025, no word of a lie. There are some connections to the same people, the same families that started World War II. So think about that. It just these are top elite families. Like if you actually look into World War II, the U.S. wasn't necessarily on the Britain side. There were rallies in the U.S. that were very German, okay, and it only through, I guess, enough information they realized, okay, this isn't a good outcome, right? They started learning about some other things, like they were straight up on meth, the Nazis. They straight up were. There was a brand name for it, and they were indoctrinated into thinking it was like your vitamins. The soldiers were, at least. I think like there might have been quite a bit of the population on it too. I can't think of the name offhand, what it was called. I'd probably get demonetized if I. Well, not that I'm monetized yet, but if this in the future, if this becomes, there's enough subscribers on this channel, I probably shouldn't talk too much about that. But it was it's history. Maybe it's not an issue, but that was the reality. It was just a bunch of crazed out, drugged out people trusting the media, and the media lied to them then too. Like they didn't tell them about the death camps. Like the death camps happened in stages, right? Like it first started off with just sickly people they couldn't take care of anymore, and gradually the standard of what was considered undesirable, it kept shifting every few weeks. It got worse and worse. But at first it wasn't like industrial level. They were just doing it in little buildings, just a factory. They would literally just bring you out they'd say they're taking you to be rehabilitated, and they'd park you in a warehouse or something. It's like a small building, and they'd have just a car running indoors, and it would be carbon monoxide, and then they'd just bury you nearby. They just wanted to get rid of you because you weren't considered desirable according to you weren't a good worker. So if you weren't a good worker, that's how they dealt with you when the Nazis were in charge. So if you want to continue that path, just remember how it ended, right? That the ultimate mistake, the great misunderstanding they had, even though, you could argue, yeah, that's a logical way to have a more efficient economy. But the problem was that everyone knew someone that was disappearing. And that's what ultimately made someone mad. It's like you're okay to get rid of, or at least they were okay to get rid of some people until it was someone they knew, and eventually it reached too many people they knew. And overseas, same thing. It was, they're like, hey, I know that person from back home there. That's what happened to them, right? And they're finding out stories. So yeah, eventually the world turned on it. And that happens from an echo chamber. If you're at the top with no one telling you what you're doing is wrong, and you're essentially not fully educated on the dynamics of your decisions, which most people at the top are not. They're only as educated on the things that the shareholders, they're like just the finance things. Like the finance is just a small part of the big picture. People like to think that money reigns supreme, but that's actually not true. Knowledge reigns supreme, because knowledge makes money, right? Like money is defined by knowledge. If you can't just write down this is a $1 bill on a piece of paper and say it's a $1 bill. It has to be voted on through groups of people, lots of processes, then legally precisely defined and cataloged, and then that same piece of paper, even though it's the same thing, then it's money. Not because of knowledge, right? The knowledge of the process and the reasoning behind things. So, um, yeah, that's me just rambling on. Hopefully, nothing like that happens again. And hopefully, people get their stuff straight. You know, there used to be I believe there used to be a third popular U.S. party. It's crazy how it's disappeared, though. How there's only the two parties. But I think that's because the way the candidates are picked, that billionaires do first level screening, and this way they only have to screen two parties, right? So you're a billionaire endorsed Democrat, and you're billionaire endorsed Republican, and in Canada it's similar like that. But it's like uh, the royalty, like the royal family, kind of screens the candidates. So they don't want people who are too socialist. They want to keep them out in general. But at the same time, it's a little foolish of them because they themselves could be wealthier, and there are ways of having everything better. This isn't a zero sum game. It really isn't. If you do things more logically with the consideration, like think about it. If your people are happier, they're probably more productive. That's how this game models, right? And it's generally true in life. So why wouldn't you also want to ensure they have a lot of say in how they make themselves happy, right? I guess their concern is they won't want to be loyal workers too much. They'll start questioning why they have to be the worker and not the decision maker. And that's why the powers that be will, you know, the loyalty is unreasonably high. We should have, like, honestly, I think the U.S. and Canada would be better off with a very socialist leaders, like with like ones that are friendly to the powers that be. Don't go to war with the billionaires. Just put them in their place. Just simple as that. Just say, okay, you can remain as wealthy as you are. You can have the same privileges, but there are checks and balances. That's it. And then I think that's better than a war, right? And some societies, it literally descends into war. Everyone loses. Everyone, especially the ruling class, because they are usually promptly removed and replaced with something worse, and everyone loses. So, like, if you study a bit of French history too, or at least the French Revolution, they didn't behead Louis the 16th right away. They gave him ample opportunity because they wanted him to continue to rule, even though they revolted. They said, "Okay, but you're going to stay the emperor. Like you're still." Sorry, no, the king was Napoleon became emperor. It's so stupid what happened in the end, but they uh, they basically wanted him to remain king because it maintained some like there was some he had authority over so many people that those people would behave themselves as long as he was king. That's what they wanted. But he kept trying to flee and uh, like be disagreeable with the new regime that was actually in charge. Like he just couldn't accept the fact that the right of kings was gone, and he screwed up too many times, and eventually they got him. I really do think if there was a socialist revolution, Trump could be part of it. He really could. What's he give a crap about these billionaires? A lot of them effed them over indirectly in his somewhere along the line. Why would he care about helping them out? Like, like the way you could look at it this way. Let's say he increases, like, let's say ultimately he takes half their wealth. Anyone over $1 billion, he take half. Anyone over 100 million, you take a quarter, just through wealth taxes or whatever. You put it back in, then you're not over the fiscal cliff, right? Then you're bound. Then the book's balance, right? You gotta, I think you gotta renegotiate how money works. Like the whole money system's the core problem. Interest, as we've discussed, is not a is the idea of free money interest by rich people for already having money is the core cancer to society. It's what led to this problem. But if you could get like the money system figured out, a nationalized bank, like a cooperative U.S. owned bank, where the interest rates are not for profit. There is zero motive to charge interest for profit. You only charge interest as a penalty for failure to comply with terms, okay? But not for profit. Once principal's been paid, you're square, right? I think that I did another video on that where you pay 70% of the principal, and let's say 30 was an interest. You're square. You own that. You own it. Okay, that would be how a nationalized bank should work. So stuff like that. I think someone like Trump would be like he's a good leader, right? He doesn't get as easily influenced through nonsense. A lot of people follow him, right? You've got to be realistic. Even if you're a Democrat and you're frothing angry at what I'm saying right now, look at it objectively. Like how many people are Trump fans, even though he has been making mistakes. Maybe by the time this is airing, his popularity could be bad, but uh, his solution is to become like conduct policies that favor the society itself, socially reasonable policies, things that make the average person wealthier. And yeah, billionaires, financiers, people who just want just playing the stupid game of money. There should be two types of money systems. There's the essential money, and then there's the game money. They should just be playing the game money. And maybe Elon, has an epiphany and goes, "Hey, maybe Dogecoin should be the UBI, and that you can use that to pay your rent. You can buy your food." And instead of, I'd give him $1 trillion. I'd say, Elon, the government's going to make you the first ever trillionaire. You're going to achieve your lifelong goal. But after that, you legally have to give it all away. And you've got to do it in the form of UBI and your Dogecoin system. And it is legal tender. Like you can buy food, buy gas, pay rent, all essential stuff. Travel, no, you can't travel with Dogecoin. That would be like, or whatever, crypto they want to use. Just the principle of and let's just be clear here. This wouldn't be fiat currency. Like the difference between fiat currency and a crypto reserve currency. I love these conspiracy. I love this is why I made this channel, because I get to talk about this. If you think about it, crypto is probably the best reserve currency, because unlike paper and even unlike gold, like where's the gold? I don't know. Like you can't directly monitor it, but crypto you can. It has known locations, known servers, known owners. The position of it with a quick SQL query. You can find out where it is. So you know how much is in circulation. You know who has it at all times. Everything's on record. And then if you have a crypto that you have a pre-scheduled release rate where you say, well, actually, like you do have to add more currency into the system over time. But currently the way it works is via bank bailouts and various industry prop-ups, which is so corrupt. Like if that happens again, straight up, anyone who's in office, if you're going to be so unpopular, you're going to be out of office within a month. You're going to get the South Korean treatment. You'll be impeached fairly soon if you do it again. No bailouts. Okay. The better way to introduce new money into the system is via UBI. So you have a schedule, and I think this is how Dogecoin and some other cryptos work, is that there's a schedule of new money printing. It can never be ad hoc modified. That's the key. As long as it can't be ad hoc modified, it's guaranteed. It's more reliable than gold, and it's definitely more reliable than fiat currency, because people can't just print more to adjust at things. However, with that in mind, when natural events like natural disasters, other opportunities come up, when capital is needed, the taxation on the wealthy has to be there has to be a like an easy just knob on that, so that when the because there is going to be no other money. So let's say you don't have enough money to feed people, and you need more money, you just have to increase the taxes. And once that system's in play, you won't see any more boom bust cycles. You won't have bailouts anymore. Just things will naturally collapse. Old industries will fall apart. New ones will arise. It's more of a free market, less corrupt market, and just a better society. And I think most people would want that. So again, that's why I'm a pro-socialist person. I don't believe in conserving the system we have. I think it's utter trash. I don't believe in a lot of this liberal stuff where you just everyone no, it's still a jungle out there. I like equality of opportunity, sure, but not equality of outcome. If you're not there has to be some accountability for cost, and also give people a lot of freedom though. Don't I'm in the middle, okay? I'm literally, if you were to say, are you leaning more conservative or leaning more liberal? I'm between those two. I'm in the middle, but there's a third sphere, the missing party in the U.S. Where did it go, right? The one that's been hidden by the people in charge for a long time because they don't want you to know your best option's never been available when voting. Like ever since Ross Perot, I remember Ross Perot. I remember when he was running and how I was very young and I saw it in the news, but there were people that were like powerful people who were concerned how a rogue candidate could run. He wasn't like Trump. He was genuinely rogue. Trump ran as a Republican, so he's unfortunately under some Republican billionaire influencer going to screw you over. Ross Perot, and he actually had some good, probably some of the best policies, in terms of like simplified tax systems, stuff like that. He got a good amount of the votes too, like something like 22%, which for a guy who was an independent, like his didn't have a party, he got 22% of the vote. But they changed the rules, both parties, and I guess election officials, so they're in on it too, to prevent someone like that from running. Like in Canada, usually have five candidates to pick from. Most places in the world, you have more than two. But the U.S. is unusual in just having two. But it's usually the top media outlets are going to push one or the other because it's usually liberal versus conservative doctrine that is the debate. So that's that in terms of my ranting. Okay, let's get back to the game here. I try to do the rants at first so that as we get into the more boring parts to some people watch this show and don't care about the game. So I can only do that for so long. Like it is supposed to be a game channel. Can't blab incessantly. And I did notice a problem already. We have some open hull trucks here. This is where I do my Jonathan Pie. I transition to another story. Open hull trucks aren't building things, and I know we need these power lines to be built. Okay, why aren't they going here? Can they not get here? Well, they don't need any steel right now. We've got to find things that need steel. Oh, I can't press pause. Okay, this is action-packed. We got the steel. Who else needs steel? This should be buildable. Let's go into this mode here. We will assign construction projects to all of them in this zone. Now let's just make sure everyone has work to do. Ooh, should we start? I think we should start this here. Our construction yard, our main construction office. I don't know where else this would go. Like you don't, like it is better for it in the middle of the city, but there's an opportunity cost to that, right? If you take prime real estate for something, you're costing something else that's prime real estate. So this is in a very good location, but not in a prime location. So we got to get, I think it's the worker shortages are the issues. Let's see if there's any power lines here that are, they're all, just there's no open haul trucks needed. That's the issue. There's no projects needing steel right now. That's insane though. Usually there's something. Actually, let's just do, I want to check something here. Let's just check out our road here. Whoa, it's being built. It looks like it's kind of done here. Okay, I've been babbling a lot. They're using it too. Okay, let's see if our fuel, oh, not even keeping up, but it has to be better than before. It has to be. And let's check out how the projects are going here. Yep. In this action-packed episode. Oh, wait, hold on. Another thing came up. Things are coming up too fast. Okay, so what we need is a big garbage truck first. This has to go here. It has no electricity, but we're working on it. It is code red status. And once it's there, waiting for that. Let's look for a free excavator. I'm going to try to do these as it gets busier and busier. It's like a challenge to not pause for an entire episode. Like, at least for this game. It's such a slow-paced game that this isn't terribly exciting. But if everything's sort of doing its own thing, it's kind of interesting. Okay, so what this does, sorry, that's lost sign for some too. Yeah, so that's the wrong dump. I don't know why it's going there. This should be going to construction waste. So what we want to do is, this is how we make gravel in this world. That should work. Yes, we're going to have 2 trucks doing this. So now this is where our recycling is beginning. So we're making gravel by taking this construction waste from our cathedral, and we're going to make gravel to make roads. And with that, those roads will then expedite the construction of all other kinds of things. However, we do have other projects going on here. I am concerned. Okay, we're short on concrete. Let's grab this concrete truck and send it over. This guy, real-time, action-packed. Guy's still doing nothing. There's no concrete work in this zone. So we'll send them to, I think we're going to need it too. See if we can, oh yes. There's some work there. And let's see if any of these have any openings. No. Okay, this one has no work either. Okay, let's see if they're complaining about a shortage of open haul trucks in this area. They could be. They could be. Nope. Oh, but we need one there to pick up that bulldozer. I think I'll send it there just, well, just get the bulldozer over faster. I don't think the bulldozer's going to be doing much work soon. Where's the bulldozer? Where did it go? Action-packed. It's like Path of Exile. I'm going to definitely do some Path of Exile. I'll probably get a few more viewers then, but not the most not as sophisticated viewers. You get people like Elon Musk watching, playing Path of Exile. not to, come on, you're a wizard or you're a barbarian and you're burning things and cleaving things. How sophisticated is that? This show is much more sophisticated than that. Okay, where's our bullet? What's he doing? This guy, like, wait for a truck. Imagine, this is the Soviet Republic, okay? Imagine if they did this today, like you're a bulldozer driver, instead of just waiting for a truck to pick it up, it just drove down, a main highway, right in the middle of the road. Okay, let's doing some road construction here. What road construction? Uh-oh, they're doing projects I don't want them to do. No, this isn't. Oh, maybe, actually, maybe. Maybe this isn't total trash. It's not super high priority. They already have another road, so I'm going to say no. No. Universal basic income? No. Public healthcare system? No. Nationalized banks? No. There we go. That's how decisions are made, by someone who can make decisions. That's the other thing about this game. You get to be all powerful. Like you ever see American Dad, where they have the lunch or school announcements, and whoever controls the mic turns into a dictator. And it's a funny bit. You got to check it out. American Dad's one of my favorite shows. The top 10 comedy shows. It is just, I do like it more than Family Guy's pretty good too. But I think I like American Dad slightly better because it's just it's slightly more adult and a little bit more, little less potty humor jokes. But it still has quite a few of them. It's not good. It's basically the same show. But anyways, I think it's called school announcements or whatever job that is. You talk on the microphone. It corrupts them, and then they get fired because they're corrupt. And then the next person does it. They become corrupt. They get fired, and it just goes on and on. It's just like normal characters. As soon as they got the mic, they're a dictator. That happened to me if I ever had that power. Holy, we got a lot of things going on here. A lot of work. Okay, let's check this out. Let's check out what's going on here. So they're getting their construction waste. See that? Well, there's one of our excavators. This doesn't have electricity though. And I don't know what's going on with the electricity. We did notice we had a shortage of concrete. We're short, missing concrete. So we did send a concrete truck over. That should help things out. Well, we got some new vehicles. Let's check them out. It's action-packed. Useless train. Everyone's unhappy. Boo-hoo. We know. Cry me a river. Okay. I want to also make sure none of our civil projects are starting. We're not doing anything in the city until our construction zone is complete. And then I'm going to start sending workers to this zone. Our bus stop's a bit high priority too. Yep. Action packed, non-stop. Look at this. Look at this. Isn't this crazy? It's like a final boss it's like the Maven in Path of Exile. The Maven's just as exciting. This is equally exciting. I'm going to tag this. This game is just as I'm going to clip this. This game is just as exciting. This game is just as exciting as the Maven in Path of Exile. Look at this. Look at this thing. Well, the workers stopped working on it. It was moving till I started. And I thought it would be moving for this. They can't even do that. Okay, enough of that. Yeah, the Maven's quite an interesting. I haven't played Path of Exile too. I'm looking forward to it. Looks like there'll be a lot of followers. I think I'd be not bad at it. I think I could actually make the top 1,000 for sure on a ladder. For sure, 1,000 if I played regularly. I wouldn't be able to. I'd have to to make the top 1,000. I'm pretty sure I would have to. Just play regularly and not do any edits. Maybe someone like just upload or just you know record and burn. Right? There's nothing of replayability in it to do that. Is that worth it? I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's better I don't. Maybe I just have an average character. Elon Musk, I think it was, he had was it some video game where before he started paying people to play his characters, he played another game where he showed his custom build and people said it was just awful. If you played the game, it was awful. I didn't actually play the game, so I don't know how bad it was. But honestly, that's better entertainment. That I would rather see someone like, you know, a show with just normal people who don't play a game 12 hours a day. Just like, come on, that's reality. Most people are that way, okay? I know it's good to be competitive and stuff, and when you're young, and I was like that. I was a competitive gamer. I played a lot before streaming occurred. I was on the ladders. I did get to the top of the ladders. In fact, I was very good. But the, um, the average person probably wouldn't be that entertained. Like maybe the community itself finds it. Like at the top, everyone kind of knows each other. It's kind of like a clique, right? There's like a short list of top players, and then there's like in the pyramid of nerds. It's the pyramid of nerds. There's the top nerd, and from that, there's the aspiring nerds that want to have that job of top nerd, and then there's the learning nerds, and then there's the beginners, and then you get into the noobs at the bottom, and there's different degrees of noobs. That's how the pyramid of nerds work. You got the super dork at the top, who's the best at the game. Again, I shouldn't say that. Like that's when I was good at games. That's what I was called. You know, that's how I was treated. So I'll treat you the same way I was treated. And I'm allowed to say that, okay, because I've been in that position. I'm allowed to. Okay, I'm allowed to refer to gamers as nerds. Okay, look at this. I'm literally playing the nerdiest game out there. Even nerds can't tolerate this. It's too nerdy. Okay. Maybe that's what it was. That's why I wasn't that popular. So I just was that way. But yeah, that's how the pyramid of nerds works. Okay, let's get back to our buildings here. I really want to put. We're waiting on power. And we got a little bit in here. I want to start building concrete roads. Gravel roads, a little bit at a time in the zone. Because we want the vehicles to move faster now. We'll give them a gravel road there. So no more deliveries going to be done for a bit. I don't think there's anything on this side. I don't think we're building anything of interest here. What's this bus doing? What's it building? Power transformer. Which power transformer? Oh, they're on that one. I thought the other one was going to get built faster from this side. Why don't they do this one? Got a high priority too. Yeah, our electrical's falling behind. Yeah, okay, our open hulls. Once you get to a certain phase, they need a ton of steel. So your open hulls are only going to be inactive for so long. So we just had too many. Here's another pro tip from a guy who's played this on realistic mode the second time. When you're enabling your buildings for construction, like you have this here, right? Suspend any buildings that aren't immediately needed. Because if you want to build everything in parallel, they're going to go and do everything half-assed, and you'll get nothing finished. So in truth, what you want to do is kind of only enable one building at a time. But if you only enable one, that means some of your machines are going to have nothing to do. So then it stands to reason you should have other buildings, maybe complementing buildings that use the other machines. So you got some machines here, other machines there, and they kind of are always in use this way, right? But not too much. You want to have it just enough projects under construction that all your machines are in use, but they're not too thin. They're just optimally in use. So right now we don't have as far as I can tell, we don't have too many projects going on. So therefore, I think we're doing okay here. Like pretty much everything in the city isn't being built. Okay, I didn't know. See, this isn't essential. Well, see, but look what it's doing though. It just took in some steel, and it's almost done. I guess I'll finish that off. We do want to set up our garbage collection route at some point too. Yeah, this whole episode is just reacting to problems. This is kind of like how I play the game normally. The last few episodes, I was doing some large-scale planning because I didn't want to create this world and then just have a complete gong show and then you stop watching because it's so disorganized. Because no one wants to watch someone who's that bad. Like, there's two ways to play this game. Well, actually, no, there's only one way to play the game, and this is the way to play the game. You play it as efficiently and as well as possible, because you do want to, you don't watch the bad golfers, you watch the good golfers. So you play the game as efficiently as possible. Once it gets boring, because it's such an efficiently built world, it can more efficiently go into chaos. So that's, in my opinion, the only way to play a game. Play it so it's entertaining on the way up and it's entertaining on the way down. And then it's just entertaining. So that's what we're going to do here. Again, we're going to ultimately see if we can build so many cars in this world that it ceases to operate. Like, in theory, if every single square foot of road had cars, you'd have gridlock everywhere. So let's see if we can do that. We should be scoring well up until we don't stop, right? Unchecked capitalism. No one telling us to stop. Let's see what happens, right? Unrelenting greed. Not paying any attention to the other effects. Okay, I am going to also, I want to get some concrete roads in here. There's some gravel roads. So I want the trucks to move faster. And they're going to be regularly visiting these places. This little bit of gravel road wouldn't hurt. Just a little bit more, right? A little bit more work, but not too much work. Any other projects they shouldn't be working on? Not that one. You're going to work on this? You know what? I think we're going to suspend this one for a bit. Actually, one of these we're going to suspend. We don't need both of them. Okay, we already have one suspended. Yeah, I'm going to suspend the food factory. So it'll be nice once we have this factory built. Actually, we kind of the code red right now is the electrical. This has to be, that's medium priority. That's high priority. There you go. That's one problem. These should all be high priority. Yep. Yep. This should be high priority. It is. Like, this is, you need electricity for everything. Oh, let's just check here. I want to make sure nothing's happening here. Is this thing off? Yes. We're into June right now. Well, it'll be so nice. Like, I'm going to continue playing this real time a little bit after recording. Just because I want the series to go a little faster. It's not, like I'm trying to do some tutorials on the game, like get some tutorials for noobs, right? Maybe that's what the series should be called, just tutorials for noobs, because it's actually at the level of people who might not have even seen the game. Like this is, I love this game, I really do. This is uh, the funnest game that's like right now. It's my favorite game by a wide margin. I've played a lot of similar games, but they had a lot of issues that you'd think wouldn't be issues in games, but and it doesn't have those issues. Like it does so many things right. That said, the highway editor, not the best, but I mean all these other things. And it's a city builder with industry planning, right? And economics. It teaches you, oh, we are, money's going down here. That's another thing here too. We are going to have to start borrowing money. That's going to be a concern. Um, in theory, however, these trucks here should be making us some rubles. So what we might have to do, actually with that in mind, perhaps then we have to start thinking about getting goods from China more efficiently. Because if we go off the fiscal cliff with the capitalist, with the monster from Jekyll Island interest rates, right? The the scammers who want their free money and don't provide the money in society to pay it, but they provide it to themselves to take. If we want to survive that, we might have to go to straight up rubles. Like we just might not survive that. Once we run out of our US dollars, like for sure everything we make in Los Angeles is going to get sold to Canada. But we're not quite there yet in terms of the ability to produce goods. And we're going to keep it simple at first. It's a food factory, and we might have to stop construction for a bit and only bring in construction supplies from the Soviet side to deal with the economic situation we'll be in. But if that's the case, like if we're short on workers, we'll send the workers to work in the food factory, and we'll make so much food that it's just profit, right? Nothing else will get built, and we'll work on San Francisco maybe at that point. That this will come to a bit of a stall. But we want to have our ability to make all this. Okay, some of our conveyor lines, look at this. See how they're slowly becoming real? So this is where I think the series could get more interesting once we're out of these blueprint modes and we actually have lots of fake news stories. I have this whole category on my YouTube channel that's like clickbait, and it's supposed to be based on my ability to take screenshots in the game here that look photorealistic. Well, not. See, when you upload them, you can't make them look too realistic. It has to obviously be not reality. You can't take a real picture of something and then put a celebrity or someone on that picture and say this happened. That's obvious. Clearly you shouldn't do that. But this is a comedy show, right? I can, if you think that's real, you're just stupid. YouTube should be like, yeah, you should be tricked. That's what YouTube would say. That's obviously not real. That's all, like they should allow that. And what entertains people is, you never know. I'm offering something different. There isn't. This show is somewhat unique, and it's a bit of an experiment. And I would hope some people at least play the game and find this, not too frustrating. I don't. Once I get a bit bigger, like let's have a few more followers, I'd like to maybe do some interactive shows where I don't know if they're going to be as clippable. I kind of like it when I'm early on here, where I'm sort of just making my content. Sometimes there's no one in chat even, which I actually kind of like because I can focus on. I'm not distracted Like I think the show is a higher quality. When I watch other streamers, when they're getting interrupted by their chat, I'm like, unless uh, unless it's a really good point, sometimes it just takes away from it. Sometimes it's better just to let the person go on and on and on. Because sometimes chat just brings up a point that you were going to make eventually anyways. So they're cutting you off early because they're impatient. But again, in the comments, that's what I really want this show to be is uh, filled with comments. It's all about the comments, about taking a dump. If there's something you do not like, please, please comment. If there's something you agree with, comment as well. Point like I'm a bit of an idiot here. I don't know all the details of everything in history, so I don't necessarily know the best way to strongman something. So make my argument even better. Uh, argue with each other. Be civil. Don't insult each other. Don't get personal. Um, uh, try to be productive out of it. But when there's the worst, like the people who argue the most in chat are the people who are typically a combination of, uh, like, usually they're a little higher up in society or they have a little bit more social stature, but also have blind spots to their knowledge. And these types of people, it's that those two things, knowledge blind spots with higher social status, those two specific, Venn overlap. These are the people that will argue the most in chat because they don't understand, like they think they're important because of their social status, but they don't realize in what society, like what group of people admires them, right? You could be a hero in one place, but you're the villain somewhere else. And unless you're aware of that, you're going to, be a bit oblivious. You can have some blind spots to your knowledge. Usually, the less curious you are, the more likely you are to be ignorant. It's kind of, I have so much wisdom in this episode. I thought this was going to be action packed. It's just me speaking, like a couple of funny jokes. Okay, I'll do let's do the three. Just in case I forget, it's the three, just a premise for a comedy skit. So it's the three-legged boy. That's what it is. And he's wants to become a pro athlete, and because like he's in pretty good shape, and he's got three legs and three normal legs, and he can run very fast. But he wants to be a pro athlete, and his dad is a soccer player or a football player, as you say in Europe, and he has three legs. This boy, and he's very they're not all the legs work; they work in unison, but he wants to be a baseball player. And also he has one arm too. He has three legs and one arm. That's the other thing. And his dad's trying to convince him that maybe you should try soccer instead, football if you're in Europe. But the boy just doesn't want to do it. He just loves baseball. So that's just an idea for a skit, just the groundwork. Again, not a joke, but just a premise. Just the boy with three legs who wants to play three legs, one arm, and wants to play baseball. And his dad wants him to play soccer. And just the debate you can have. I think there's something to it. I think there's you could do a short on that. And the sadness, the happiness of when maybe he becomes a baseball player, and then he's sliding into home base, but two of his legs don't touch it, but his third leg touches it, and he gets a home run. I don't know. You could do something with it, and it'd be like a great moment. Yeah, I probably shouldn't. I actually have some other ideas. I don't really. The thing is that you try too hard. You try too hard with comedy. The funniest things I see are just people's random situations. They just come up. Like stand-up comedy. I don't like stand-up comedians that terribly much. Except for like if you've seen their routine once or twice, you're good, right? Like think LeVar Walker's one I've watched quite a bit recently. Just has a neutral background like myself. And like just a guy who one day said, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this nonsense world. It's just, and then he became a comedian, and he's pretty good. He is pretty good. But I generally like though just the, you know, like Bobby Lee and Theo Vaughn, just the banter and just the stupid things, the stupid paths of the conversation, the little bits they're doing, the little hidden gags, you know. That's and then the consequence of it, and then they act it all up, you know. Bobby Lee's always offended. He's not always offended, but and Theo's doing something. Theo's doing something to get his goat, and uh, actually, I watched Bobby Lee play. I think it was Stardew Valley or some video. I thought that was interesting. I watched the whole thing, and he's into it, explaining the game. He's saying, no, you got to do this recipe here. And I think his brother's like saying, well, what's that do? And I think his brother doesn't think it's funny, and anyone's going to find it. I found it fascinating. Like the game, I didn't know anything about the game either. There's a bit of a motivation for this series. It's like, I'm going to assume maybe some people watch the game, and we can clip it accordingly, the way you look at it. But I'm going to assume some people are looking at this game and going, what the hell is this game? What's going on here? And Bobby Lee, I think it was Stardew Valley or Star Mist Valley. I don't remember the game. It was he was making tea or something, and he was really good at it apparently, and he was like super elite or something like that. And I thought that was actually quite good. It wasn't necessarily the funniest thing, but it was interesting enough for me to watch all of it, because he keeps saying, okay, hold on, we got to do this now. And you kept watching longer and longer. Hold on. We got to build this factory here. We got to do this or that. So it's this, a little inspired from that. That's what the series is. Look at this. Okay. We haven't hit pause at all. We're getting into this. I don't necessarily want to make this a long episode either, because if I make it too long, it's more editing time. And at some point I have to hit pause. Like things will suddenly we had a few problems kind of correct themselves, but they're not always correcting themselves. Okay, now our bulldozer's doing nothing. It didn't correct itself. Okay, we can deal with that. That's only one problem. Oh, we got two problems now. These guys aren't doing anything. Okay, they should be working on this road here. They should be. Is that too far away? It's probably just a little too far away. See, this might have to become an asphalt road. I could make it an asphalt road, but they got nothing better to do. I think I'll do that. I think we're going to do that. Yep. Once it gets in here, we're going to lose. We're going to lose our. If we do, okay, we got to make it temporary. Let's give these guys some work. Okay, so the range of these buildings is kind of contingent. Actually, you know what? That's not. This road's stupid. Mind you, it's cheap though. But we could. Okay, so the range of these buildings, when we scan for work, see this here? This is how Bobby Lee would describe it. See this here? It can only go this far. So it's not going to look for work beyond that. There's no other work. I want to get these workers to work quicker. So let's make like a straight line here. A straight line into immediate. Okay, let's allow for a bit of a lineup, small lineup from here. Let's go that way. Right, so let's go generally like that. Yeah, like that. Like that. Let's go up a bit, make sure it's a nice straight line. that, and we'll make this, and this is not only going to be a faster highway, this will be asphalt. It's a bit of a waste of money, but the problem is this is almost a useful custom house, but it's not quite a useful one because it's so far away. So we got to give it everything we can. This will pay off in the long run. Trust me. This is going to be good. Okay, but we got this. Yeah, let's go a little bit. See, this could round a bit, go into there, but we'll get rid of that. Let's start this part here. So let's make a straight up asphalt road. And that's something for them to do. They can work on this. They'll go to work. Watch, watch. You start moving now. They'll say, hey, I got something to do. See, look, they're going to go to this, and they're going to go to this. See? I gave them work to do. And then and that doesn't disrupt this normal route here. This is still stuff's going on here. But I do want this gas station to disappear. Actually, let's make a different gas station too. It's like it'd probably make more sense to put it at the junction here. Let's put a permanent one in. Yeah, let's do that. This is a long stretch between fuel depots, so it's more work for them to do. You never want your workers idle. That's one of the things in this game. You always want to have them something that they're doing. So we can get rid of this road too. Let's get rid of our dirt road. We never want to accidentally, like the snowplows will start clearing it and wait, and then they'll you tell them that you give them priorities, but they don't always seem to listen. They get like a bit of a mind of their own. So let's just make sure all the roads they shouldn't be plowing, make sure they don't exist. Like that and that. Up there. This might only ever be a gravel road. Here we got our remnants of our super early road, not connected, but that's an improvement. Look at that. That's moving oil into China much faster. But let's build a gas station here now. I think that's a good distance from each, and then you're a long ways from the city. You're in the middle of nowhere here. It's not we'll make a high traffic one. We'll make a really cheap one. That's the cheapest one we can make. 2. Yeah, and a permanent one. I don't want to use a free one here. We're giving them work. We're creating fake jobs right now. Fake jobs, because we don't have UBI. So we gotta have a fake job. How about let's go on this road here. Like there could be houses around here. This could become a pocket. I think this is Seattle. That's what we have here. It's not gonna be a big city, I don't think. Is this Seattle? No, it's Portland. Where's Seattle? It's over here. So make a permanent gas station. So that'll give the construction workers. Let's see if can China reach that? No. No one. Wait, sorry. We got to build the road first. It's a bit of extra work, a little bit of extra gravel to get there. Can China reach that? It could. We'll give them some work here too. I want to create some permanent gas stations throughout the world here because this one should be getting built. Just need some workers. Okay, that won't be a big deal. Yeah, let's send the bulldozer all the way out there. You know what? Can we move that bulldozer to over here to build this? I think it might. Yeah, let's go over there. And then it will, yeah, and then we'll make that asphalt later. Actually, just to make it clear, I want to, so this will, I'll upgrade this one to asphalt. So we're only doing that for this little bit here. Just because that's such a, like I don't want to build a parallel, I just think a straight line's worth it. After here it's kind of straightish. It's not as crooked. So we can tolerate this. So this will all upgrade to asphalt. So, but in the meantime, it's going to actually need to have mud. And I think they'll intersect around here. I think maybe, you know what, we might actually junction right there, let's say, that straight part. And this will be our temporary highway while we're building our asphalt highway. Let's go here. Keep this. Keep going. All the way up to there. Yeah. There. And we won't connect that just yet. But we want this to be a high-speed highway. Like, I don't know what else they can build, and by extending the range, we can start getting to work on projects in San Francisco. So let's get them, make that asphalt as soon as possible. The vehicles themselves out there are not even that fast, but they can't scan the range. Actually, I don't even know if I'm not necessarily sure they'll be able to even scan it. Either way, if they're going to do work out here, they should do it as fast as possible. And we got tons of rubles, so we'll see if that works. But that's just sort of a reminder. So once that becomes an asphalt road, we definitely will have vehicles in the future that will be able to go max speed, although we might have to manually assign the projects at that distance. Maybe we'll move the construction office up. You know what? It probably makes sense. Yeah, that's what we'll ultimately do. So we'll move the construction office to this area here. And then it will be able to find projects, and then it will just go to the border here to get the goods. So we'll just keep that in mind. Actually, maybe we should do that right now. Let's put these vehicles in a temporary depot. And let's move that construction office. It's catching us to go. Hasn't been a single pause this episode. I'll see how this works. If action-packed is more interesting than a normal episode, so be it. Though I did babble a lot in this one. But again, there's shows, like, that's what they do. They just yap. They just rant. That is the show. You don't get a virtual mini world to look at. Okay, hold on. Go here. You don't want that one. So we're going to demolish this construction office and put it closer to San Francisco. And they'll build this highway in the meantime. So let's see. I think there's a bulldozer driving this way. But you can't bulldoze. Where's he going? That's crazy. So you can't bulldoze a construction office until you have all your vehicles out of it. So you gotta find all our vehicles. And even, like, it just shows 3 in there, but we know this one was assigned to it. So this one also has to go over here. This has to go there, and then we just gotta find our bus. So you can't demolish it. It'll, like, if I try to blow it up, see, can't demolish. We gotta find our bus. Our bus has to. Where's the bus? The best way to actually find it in these situations is to select the bus and then just go figure out where it is. Whoa! What's it doing? No wonder this is. What is going on here? There is a glitch in the matrix. I don't even know where we are on the map. What happened? Unfinished high voltage? Where is this? It can't get to there. Oh, road. Oh my god. We took out our roads and it found another way. Found a back door. So it couldn't get into that zone. So it went. How did it even do this? Oh, we'll send it there. Now I think I can bulldoze this. And then we'll take care of this here. And we'll set up. This will be the new construction office out here. And then we'll buy a gas station too. I think this here is a good spot. We're gonna make a construction office. Free one, of course. I think around here, maybe. Yeah, we'll put it on the side of the. Again, these small ones, they move around regularly. This isn't that unusual. We'll assign Russia. So it's effectively going to do the same thing, except it will find projects in San Francisco. And then we'll use this change workplace for all. And there we go. And we'll set the scan range to max. So now we're getting some projects around here. Start doing. That's one of the reasons we connected there. And that's about as far, I think, as you can get. But once we get asphalt highways, that won't be a big deal. We could also start looking at some asphalt highways here too. I'm considering. Okay, let's put a temporary road here. Yeah, let's put a parallel road. Do that. And let's build, let's do a little bit of asphalt work here. Just some work for them to do. Yeah. Because we want the workers to come in pretty quickly from this side too. This will actually be a lot of our goods will come from China. Because it's the closest Soviet bloc. Okay, dare I do that? Yes. That's asphalt, I think. Doesn't look like it. Let's see if that works. So they can go around that. They can build that. So you don't want to necessarily like let's say they need gas during construction, right? They still have access. So I like to do it in like segments at a time. And then they're not kind of overdoing it. Just something for them to do. Let's check on what's going on over here. Do we have electricity yet? I really do want to make sure we don't box out our space for a prefab panel here, because I want to do I think a lot of buildings in this area are going to be prefab. We're going to have a lot of tall buildings. It's going to be very, I don't know if we're going to make the buildings as big in San Francisco. We'll probably have a few tall ones, like maybe super concentrated downtown, like as tall as everything can be, but then after that, just sort of, small houses. But because we have this elaborate freeway and everything in here, and so much real estate. I think we're gonna make a big city here. Just right now, the traffic is very light. I know when I was playing the campaign, the traffic got quite bad at points. Like it was bad enough where because it didn't have realistic mode traffic lights, so they were just driving through each other magically. But I think if it was realistic mode, it would have been complete gridlock the way it was set up. But there's so many mistakes in that world that this is second time at realistic mode, and I've only played the game, I guess. This is like the fourth world I've built. Campaign 1, Campaign 2, and then 2 realistic modes. That's my history of this game. And yeah, you learn. Obviously Campaign 1, if you just start playing this game, you're going to be awful at it at first. You'll do dumb things. Sometimes it's like, when you see someone else do something, it's not necessarily as easy until you actually try it yourself. It's always easier to be a critic than, always point out. It's easy to point out the mistakes, but sometimes when you don't notice the good things, that's the difference, right? That's the distinguishing thing between someone who knows a little bit about something and someone who doesn't. But there are people who proudly point out the mistakes you made. Let's see if we can go faster speed, even more action-packed. The grand finale where everything gets stuck. What's it doing here? What's it doing? Missing resort asphalt. We got asphalt in this truck, don't we? Yeah, okay, it's not missing. No workers or mechanism. Where's the bus? No. Oh my god. Okay, let's go back to normal speed. I didn't pause it, but why are they doing this? This is insane. I don't even know where we are. Because it's going all the way around here. It's doing that to get to a job here that it couldn't otherwise find a connection. So maybe I'll just connect it so that it doesn't do it as stupid as well. Oh my god. It's going to go all the way, this is what it's doing. Because it wasn't connected here. There's no other connection to it. And it was assigned this project, or one of these projects here. I think it's this one here. Yeah, I thought this was closer. Yep, there it is. But the only way it gets it is to basically go all around the world. And there's no other way. Okay, let's see if we can... Let's do something about that. Okay, you know what, this road's connected. All this is connected. I don't want this to happen again. Okay, let's put an alternative way for this to connect. Yeah. Let's go on grid. Find the grid location. Actually, I think we want to go 5. That's at the start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. Oh, is it 5? I think it's 5. Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that's the short ones. Let's go with 4. That's 5 diagonal, so it's a little bigger. So I think we'll go with 4 diagonal. Okay. Oh my god. How much further could they go? Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay, so now they can get there that way. Let's go around here. Oops. Oh, there you go. Perfectly straight. Go like this. And this way, they shouldn't really be going this far out, but that's just temporary. We'll bulldoze all that later. Just so they don't do that. Now they can get back. And if they go out there again, next time I'll just go down this road and like this. I think we sent one of them back, so it's not even going to get there. It's going to show up in one of these depots. But it's a long ways away. And these workers, they've got nothing to do. Economy's getting worse, mismanaged by the top because they don't give a crap. They just want money for themselves. They make all the decisions and aren't part of they're a decision maker, but they're not the consumer of the product, so they don't care. And we tolerate that. We let that happen, this disconnect. Anyways, let's see how we're doing here. Are we going to get electricity? Are we going to get our first thing of gravel? I don't know. It's looking not likely. There's a lot of work. I don't think it's going to get done. I don't think it's going to... How far are these along? Yeah, I think we got too much work. I think we're going to have to wind this up. I don't want this to go... I want this to be a normal length, not over time. Normal length episode. Well, that's our first attempt at an action pack. I'll check it out. I'll see how the clipping goes. It is a little slow paced. I think we need. I think in the next episode I want to come back with some of these built. So I'll just run this for a little bit after recording. And we'll start working on other projects too. It'd be nice to have this big construction office ready too. This is getting close. I think we're gonna have to wind this up. Whole episode done in real time, no pausing. Not too much chaos other than bizarro buses and plenty of rants, plenty of words of wisdom in this episode, plenty of nonsense too, plenty of everything. So just let me know what you think. If you got any suggestions for episodes, what you want to see more of, what you think should be done in our city here. Any questions about the state of it? I know not everyone's necessarily going to watch the entire series. You might just watch one or two episodes, and there's probably some things that were missed out. Just let me know in the comments, and hope you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you next week.